Man, say man, it's your boy Ray, man. What's good? What's good? What's going down? Hope everybody's doing great today. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the weekly outlook. I know it's still early. A lot of people probably sleep, but I ain't gotta do this. I do gotta do the call a little early today because I got some family stuff to attend to later on. I'd rather do it earlier than later because last couple of weeks I have been a little busy and I don't want to get it started too late because it's a weekly outlook, but then the week already gets started, stuff like that. So decided to get up a little early today. So I do appreciate y'all that was able to adjust to the new call time, right? So with that being said, if this is your first time tuning in, this is the weekly outlook call where we just hop on, look at some weekly potential opportunities just to get you better prepared for the trading week, right? Obviously, it is Sunday, so some of these setups ain't gonna play out till later on in the week. We might have something that we could take right away when the market opens, but it's rare that happens, right? Typically, we're just giving a weekly projection of what it is that we see happening. Might go over a couple trades that we took last week, go over any Q&A, any questions that y'all might need answered. We could do that as well. But again, this is just a quick session just to get you guys a little better equipped for the week, right? So just get diving straight into it. Last week was my first week trading futures. So getting the hang of that. There's a few little differences, right? From a chart perspective, it's all the same, right? Charts are charts, technicals are technicals, but it's just slightly different from an execution standpoint. The way you set your stop losses, the way you set your take profits, contract sizes, dealing with contracts rather than lot sizes, things of that nature. Just learning the ins and outs of that. Not being able to necessarily customize all your risk, to your liking, because sometimes the contract is preset. So sometimes you can't really partial out of a position, especially if you got one contract, you can't close 50% of it. There's a couple little minor differences. However, I do see that it could be something beneficial that you guys may be interested in. So I am gonna do go over a lot of Forex pairs, right? Because that's typically what I'm used to trading. But I also got some futures, all right, that we could take a look at over here, right? As you can see, they're a little different, like NQ1, ES1, 6B1, right? A lot of some different stuff, right? But essentially, this is just NAS. We got S&P 500. This is GU, essentially, Canadian dollar, right? A lot of different stuff like that, right? So, again, I'm gonna start off with my favorites. Y'all know I got my favorites, about the top 6 pairs that I enjoy to trade. So I'm gonna just start here for now. All right. So let's go ahead and dive straight into it, right? So I'm not sure if you guys remember us talking about this high momentum zone being broken through. Whenever I have a large area imbalance like this, 9 times out of 10, I look for that area to get completely destroyed. And that's actually what we see happen last week. Crazy thing is, we did have a week where we did go short, right? Or not necessarily a week, but a couple of days where we went short. This dates back to the 6th of May. So this is actually probably what, the week before last. We did go short to start the week. Then the market did regain that momentum to go bullish. And this is what I always say, some areas create retracements, some areas create continuations. Even though I didn't like this, area of imbalance to make a new low or to change the overall directional trend, we see it did make the market start to go lower, and then the market did find a way to reverse to start going bullish again to complete what it is that I figured was going to happen the first time around, right? So now that we're breaking through this area, the next clear target in my eyes will be these highs up here, which we actually already slightly tap into, all right? So I didn't know we tapped into it already, but I mean, just barely, right? Just barely by probably a pip or so. So what it is that I see happening now potentially is, waiting for the market to give us some sort of reversal signs, right? The market did just come up clear previous highs that date all the way back to April 9th. So these are what we would call a monthly high. And since we did come and clear that out, you got to assume that there's a lot of buy side liquidity above that high. So with that being said, this will be an opportunity where I start to look for signs of, distribution, right? Let's look for signs of, consolidation, which is already started right here. All right. But I would like to see, the market just start to range a bit. Then, around proper trading hours, whether it be, going into London, maybe going into New York, I want to see an upthrust of price that clearly takes out the consolidation. And then we could probably get that continuation bearish. All right. Another thing that makes me feel good about this is just the fact that we do have a set of weak lows underneath here. So a lot of people just pay attention to the immediate price action right in front of them when they're trying to spot a reversal. But it's also important to look lower and see, do you have any signs of weak lows that can act as a future target for you, right? So when I look at a low like this and I look at a low like this, I can look at this and say, okay, there's probably money resting underneath it because retail traders saw a double bottom, right? So when you see a double bottom, you got to assume that a lot of people are buying. And if a lot of people are buying, that means that they're putting their stop loss underneath the buy. And if they're putting their stop loss underneath the buy, that means that there's an imaginary pocket of money. Not even really imaginary, right? It's just you can't see it, from a technical analysis perspective. But if you understand the logistics of how the market moves, then you can assume, right, that there is a large pocket of money resting right here, because in order for people to buy and set their stop losses, this is where their stop losses rest. All right. So just understanding that, I do see a good probability that the market is gonna go bearish this week. Whether we finish the week bearish or not is yet to be determined, right? However, I do believe that, we can't start the week that way, right? Not saying that we'll end the week that way, but just the, first half of the week, maybe we get a midweek reversal out of one of these lower points of the market. We did have a sell to buy scenario right here, even though it is a long wick. It is still considered a sell to buy. And then even down here where we have equal lows that cleared liquidity before crossing over bullish, that we could see the market retrace down to, the 1.249 area, 1.249. So if we are to get a sell of that magnitude, we're talking about easily a 200 plus pip drop that we could potentially be, getting prepared for. So again, that can happen and the market still return bullish, right? So, and this is why I'm very big on supply and demand and who's in control at the moment, because if you're only focused on the main overall trend, you could tell yourself just based off the higher time frame, okay, this is a bullish trend based off the fact that the market made this low, pushed up into this higher high. And, you'll find yourself waiting days potentially to even take another trade opportunity. But, we could just clearly come here, see, all right, the market did come and clear buy side liquidity above these highs. So now I'm going to wait for some sort of distribution in order to sell back down and clear all of this internal range liquidity that I have resting here. We got a very large pocket of money here that can indeed be filled out before we continue bullish again. All right. So that's something that I'll be looking for on GBP USD. And I'm going to keep it going. All right. So, Euro CAD, I don't think I really took any trades on this the past week. But overall, it's starting on a higher time frame. This market has been trending up for a little while. All right. Not saying that I want to sell just because the market's been going bullish, but there are some things that make me kind of want to see if the market could be ready for a little relief period. And primarily, we have been clearing, multiple sets of highs, right? So we cleared highs here, cleared highs here. We pushed up one more time. Right now, we're encroaching on this little area of imbalance. And like I said, I'm not saying that the market's going to make a new low and drop all the way down here. However, me being an intraday trader, I can take advantage of, small moves, right? So if I do see the potential for the market to drop, I could take advantage of it, even if it's just from here to like here. Me being an intraday trader, I'm completely fine with catching a move like that, where I could set my stop loss right there and I could set my target right here. I still get 1 to 5 risk to award. That's typically my bare minimum. Lately, I have been messing more around with 1 to 4, but typically I'm looking to make anywhere from 4 to 5 times what I risked on any trade that I take. So just with that being said, that's the primary thing that I pay attention to when it comes to me taking a position or not. It don't really have much to do with the higher time frame trend. All right. So when I look at EuroCAD, for example, if I just really look closely, obviously, the market is starting to, consolidate a bit. Then we break lower, right? As we break lower, if we just look to the left, see if this hesitated off of anything, it did. Okay. So this is what we have. We do have our Hezi crossover pattern here. All right. So the market hesitates, we cross over bearish. All right. Well, not only do we cross over bearish, we actually break structure multiple times going bearish to make a new low. So we do have a Hezi crossover. Now I'm going to use that as internal range liquidity. All right. Go down a little lower since it's not necessarily super crispy. It's not super clean. Right here is where I could clearly see internal range liquidity at. All right. Right. We even got another Hezi here. So we got a Hezi here. We got a weak Hezi right there. Then we got another one right here, weak Hezi, crossover bearish. So the market should come and take out all those weak hesitations before returning bearish again. All right. Here we also got a sweep of the previous highs. So that right there should tell you that, okay, we created a high, we took that high out, and then we transitioned to bearish, right? We hesitated, crossed over bearish. Now this internal range liquidity needs to be taken out because I look to take trades between internal range liquidity and the top of the range for a sale scenario. If I'm looking for a buy, it's vice versa. I look to take the buy between internal range liquidity and the bottom of the range. Excuse me. So now that we have that established, now we could kind of see what's going on. Market on a lower time frame is currently in an uptrend, right? But this is just a counter trend at the end of the day. Like, this is just the market going up for now, because once we reach into this zone, I feel like the market is going to continue bearish, right? So this is why, again, there's trends within trends. Sometimes it's hard not to, so sometimes it's difficult, to really see what you should and shouldn't be paying attention to. But if you just understand that concept that I'm going over right now, Hezi's crossovers, etc., you should be good. So here, I'm looking at about 63 pip take profit at least, like bare minimum. And probably stop, say, but I feel like, you should be safe with about a 10 pip stop, right? Get rid of all that extra noise. So just to get back to that initial low, we looking at 4.4. If we target this low here, we looking at 1 to 6. And that's intraday right there. If you hold it down to this low down here, it's probably more like a 1 to 12. Yep, 1 to 12. Let's check this out. Can't hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me.
We can hear you now. It was just a hella extra noise.
Extra noise, really? Okay. I'm in here by myself. All right, bet. Oh, got staticky for a sec. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for letting me know. Thanks for letting me know. So yeah, that's a setup that I'll be watching on EuroCab. I'm gonna go over my favorites and then we could take a look at some futures type trades. And shout out to Prescott, man. I gotta give you your flowers here publicly, man. Dude had a 4K week trading futures, live account, everything. Can't tell you how proud I am of you, bro. You definitely show up day in and day out, the dedication and seeing what, being intentional can provide and produce is very cool. Because I remember when you first started trading, right? Like I remember when I first met you, and to see what you're able to do has been nothing short of inspirational, not only just to me, but I'm sure everybody else in the chat. So big shout out to you, bro. Keep winning, man. And the 4K week is gonna become very, very, very routine for you. And so keep it up, bro. And we got Fisher on the call. He said he remembered them live sessions. Yeah, man. Fisher was there too. You know, everybody was first getting their feet wet in this industry. So, you know, shout out to you for being on the call too, man. The boy Fish in the call. By the way, I hope you cool too, bro. I know you moved out to Cyprus, so I hope everything is good with you. The tornado and all of that. Houston getting tornadoes now. I really might have to move because that's diabolical. I can't be dealing with stuff like that. I'm in the city though, so we didn't get it as bad as Cyprus did. I heard Cyprus got it bad though. If one sticks to the plan on conquering trading, it will happen. Yeah, for sure, bro, for sure. For sure, that's an absolute fact. Say Ray got the holy grail. Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. Real talk, real talk. I appreciate that. At the end of the day, y'all still had to show up because I show this stuff to a lot of people. Some people, you know, take it and run with it. Some people need a little more help. Some people, you know, don't think it's enough. So, it varies for everybody, but y'all are some of the people that really took it and ran with it. So that's why you having the results you having, right? GBP CAD, I definitely want to take a sell on this. We came and cleared this highway over here of internal range liquidity. Now I know what y'all might be saying, like, if this was a hezzy and then, we swept that high before it crossed over bearish, why is this still being looked at as internal range liquidity? It's like at the end of the day, if you look at it from here, right? Let's say this was a strong high and the market, came back over here. It still produced a sell. Don't get me wrong. Like, it still produced a sell. It dropped over 330 pips. So, that strong hezzy still did its job. You know what I'm saying? To say the least. But now it's still a high that rests underneath an unmitigated area of supply. So now that we're pushing into an area of supply that has not been yet mitigated, and that area of supply is coming from a strong high, because this high did indeed clear the high from the previous that previous high right there. We have a strong high area of supply that has not yet been mitigated. And then on top of that, we just see the big bullish candle right here. And I've explained this to you guys at length. We can't create those big candles like that. So whenever you see a big push up like that, you got to know that there's institutional sponsorship inside of that candle. So the fact that the candle popped up the way that it did tells you that somebody's behind it. Could be JP Morgan, could be Goldman Sachs, could be Citibank, could be Berkshire Hathaway. It could be so I don't know who it is. It's somebody with a bigger bag than us. Because at the end of the day, we create this little noise like this. We create the little noise like this. That's what we create. We create this little stuff. Then when you see these big candles, that's when you know that an institution is behind it, or a bank, hedge fund, etc. And that's why they make the term trade with the banks, because we don't want to trade with little players. We want to trade with the big players. So the fact that they had a big push up means that a big player is now involved. A big player pushed the market above this previous high in order to hit some stop losses, clear some liquidity out of the market, right? Now that that's been cleared out of the market, I do believe that this will continue to the downside, right? So for me personally, I don't know where this is going to open up. Hopefully it can retrace just a little bit so I can have a slightly smaller stop loss. Even though 30 pips ain't terrible, I like to be around 15 or below if I can help it, 20 at the max. But, GCAD is pretty volatile. So I'm not going to say it's bad. It's not a bad stop loss. But overall, I do believe that this market will give us a nice drop, right? How far it'll drop, not sure. It could make a new low, if I'm being honest, because this is an extreme high up here. And that is a real strong area of supply. I wouldn't be surprised to see if we can make a new low. But just for the sake of my intraday perspective, I'm going to say, we could target 160 pips or so, with the potential to go nearly 400. Like we can go 390 if this thing decides to swing the entire week, right? So that's that. Definitely excited about that. So I'm expecting bearishness on both EuroCAD, really GU expecting bearishness, EuroCAD expecting bearishness, GCAD expecting bearishness. So lots of bearishness on the first few setups, right? Let me go ahead and check the chat real quick. Can a retail trader with enough capital create something that is considered institutional? Good question. And a retail trader, I don't believe so. Now, a collective of retail traders, possibly, because, for example, when everybody was trading retail, like when everybody was what they call retail strategies, like trend lines and basic support and resistance, and a lot of people still do. So I'm not here to discredit a strategy, but when the masses are doing something, um, there's more money behind what they're doing. Now, at the same time, I feel like if they can't compete with an institution in terms of capital, it may just work against them if more people are doing a certain strategy. So, for example, if everybody is doing smart money concepts now, and then you start to see that they're not working as well as they used to, then I feel like that's when a large amount of retail traders can actually work against you. And we actually did a call about this where we actually kind of discovered and conversated a little bit about understanding traps. And this is why I kind of came up with the option A and option B approach um, to my signal calling, right? So if you're a part of the community, obviously you know about option A, option B, and that kind of protects us from, you know, the few occasions where smart money concepts can become retail. But I personally don't believe that um retail traders have that ability. Um, don't quote me on it, but that's just my personal perspective. I don't think that, we have that type of pool, at least at one particular juncture. Maybe as a collective, everybody entering in the same area, but for one person to push a button at one price point, I don't really think so. The other thing is institutions enter the market a lot differently than we do, because they're hedging positions against one another. So, you know, they're not making all their money on one trade. It's like they're leaving money, creating money, coming back to pick it up. Then they're bouncing back and forth. And that's the whole concept of mitigation and stuff as well, where they go in massive amounts of drawdown, then they'll come back to a certain area in order to mitigate their loss or mitigate their risk. So it's like the way that we take a trade where we might risk 500 to make 2,500. They're not really doing that. They're not making a lot of money on any single trade, but they just rarely lose. So since they rarely lose, their gains are great. But they're not gaining, they're not getting 1 to 10s and stuff, because there's not enough money available to do that. They take up too much of the market share in order to do that. But that's a whole nother conversation that we could talk about forever, right? But Nas, I told y'all I was gonna make new highs. I don't know if y'all got to go back check out old calls. I told y'all we were going to make new highs back when we cleared out this low, and I gave this buyout. And I'm sick, man, because I don't know if y'all can see this wick. This wick literally lost a challenge for me. I was up like 8%, and the market dropped, and I hit an equity drawdown in one of my challenges, and like it knocked me out, and then the market takes off. But it's just kind of crazy to see how much, 1 to 15. I really wanted to swing it to make a new high because I knew this was gonna happen. But it's cool. It is what it is. Overall, since we are at new high points, I mean, common sense will tell you that we are overbought. So, I would anticipate a sell off sometime this week. Long term, not necessarily, but just something in order to give this a little bit of relief. Market has went sort of parabolic lately. So I do anticipate a short drop off, right? Nothing crazy. And I tell y'all this all the time, right? When you're trading indices of any sort, you're you're always gonna be bullish long term. Any drop that we've seen in the past has been short lived, right? Even the drops that were considered big, right? Like this drop here, short lived. This drop here, it just comes and clears out liquidity to the left, then it takes off again, right? Drops, takes a little bit of liquidity to the left, then it takes off again. This one takes a little bit of liquidity to the left, takes off again. So when I saw this take this liquidity to the left, I was like, yeah, this thing is about to take off. So when it does that, and once it makes new highs, you know, if it could start to stall out a little bit, distribute, I wouldn't be surprised to see if we start to go bearish a little bit. But personally, I wouldn't be looking for the market to you know, continue rapidly or anything after clearing old highs. I'm looking for us to probably consolidate a bit and then see what it could do from there. All right. Give me just 1 sec, man. All right. Parabolic is just like super impulsive. That's all it really means. So So obviously here we range a bit. Now this is an opportunity. Like I wouldn't go all in on this because the market, like after a huge move to the upside, the market could take longer in order to start, going bearish. All right. So, don't go all in on this setup or nothing like that. But at the end of the day, the market did consolidate, then clear that high. All right. So there is a chance, right? There is a chance. If we look for an unmitigated high, market comes up to 18,640. Right, we come up to 18,640. Uh, I would at least take a jab at some sell opportunities. At least take a jab at it because if this does end up being a strong high, you can get a massive sell off from this area. Right, I would personally look at 18,640, maybe a tad bit lower, like 18,635. But I'm just trying to give you a round number in your head that's easy to remember. Obviously, I will upload this to YouTube if you need to come back and view it. All right. So, I would probably take a jab at a sell out of that little area of supply and see what I can come attack down here. You got some weak lows right here that could be a nice target. Maybe this is a target and you end up taking some profit around here. But overall, I think we could come up here and I think the market can drop to fill in all of this empty space right there. All right. So that's what I see happening on NAS 100. JXY or EXY to determine direction of the DXY. No, I haven't really got into that. No. Personally, I have not. I have not gotten into those. So you can. I don't really have much. Like I took a sell over here initially, but it's came back. I guess you could say it's in profit, but considering that I took this weeks ago, I'm not really, claiming that I'm necessarily right on this trade. Overall, I just feel like let me see what we got. Uh, Nothing really jumping out at me, if I'm being honest. Nothing really just jumping out at me on USD CAD. In gold, man. A lot of y'all's catching some nice continuations on gold. I gave this buyout down here, but obviously I did not hold that all the way through. I'm gonna be completely honest. Um, I'm still working on my whole game myself personally because you know I'm an intraday trader at heart, so I personally don't like holding that long. But I did give this. What was that on the 8th? Wish I would have held it through, but I did see a lot of y'all catch some nice continuations, whether from here or even from here. But now the market is approaching new high territory yet again. I do think you got to be aware that start being ready to take some profits if you haven't already. Um, what is the market gonna do from here? Let's just think about it for a second. We did clear this high right here. All right. So overall, I do think that we had the ability to make new highs just based off the overall momentum. But I'm gonna really gauge this based off of the price action that I see. The fact that we are above this high right here now, but we are still below. this high over here, if the market can show signs of distribution, I wouldn't mind taking a sell. I wouldn't mind taking a sell, right? Just because we are clearing out some form of liquidity, right? Over to the left. Yes, I got the free version of Trading View. Don't judge me. I don't remember when it got free. Oh, I changed my card. That's what happened. I had to get a new card and then it became free again. But yeah, I usually pay for it. But I don't use indicators, so I kind of just said, what am I paying for? But anyway, um, we did come clear this high. And now we're inside of, this buy to sell candle right here. So if y'all remember like our previous discussions, the market's buying here. And then the market turns around and it sells up here, right? So just because they sold doesn't mean the buy is closed. The buy is still open, even though they sell right here. So that buy is in massive drawdown until they bring the market back up to the buy. So now that the market is back at that line where they bought, they can now mitigate old position, right? So now that they can mitigate those positions, they start closing off those buys. And now the sales can start to gain more power because they're closing out the buys that they took at 24.17 point, or let's just say 24.18 just to make it easy, right? So the buys that they took right here, they can close those off. And now the only position left is the sales. So they could do one or two things, just, actually add on to those sales or just let the previous ones hold. But overall, we are ranging a bit. We do decide to clear highs to the left, which is a good thing. And it's still a little early to tell, but if we can get like a convincing break lower, could create a little bit of imbalance, create a hezzy crossover that's real visible, I would be very open to selling, around 24.18, maybe 24.16, maybe somewhere in this wick. Overall, I'd be very open to selling anywhere within like this range of like 24.14 up to like 24.23. I would sell in that pocket, but it is going to be predicated on whether or not I get this break lower and then the retracement back into it, because I do need that hezzy followed by the crossover. And then if we can come back into any one of these areas, I would be willing to sell off. All right. Just based off of what I'm seeing. Okay. Sorry if I sound crazy. Like I'm holding my daughter while I do the call. She like grabbing my lip and stuff. So sorry if I sound crazy on the call. Yeah. Overall, I'm literally bearish on everything. GU, Eurocad, GCAD, and Nas and gold, right? So pretty much I'm bearish on just about everything, right? So I'm gonna take a quick peek at the DXY, see if I see any bullish characteristics. I actually do, and it ain't really because of the demand zone to the left, but it's really more because of the way that the market dropped, right? Although it did drop, you realize how it's dropping slower than it pushed up, right? So when we're paying attention to stuff like momentum, that's very important, right? So let's look at the date and time range, right? So here we went up. What is this? 2063 something. 2600, let's just say 2600 bars in 7 days, right? Then here we dropped 2300 bars in 29 days, right? So the market went up 2600 bars in 7 days, then it went down 2400 bars in, let's just say, 30 days. So obviously the market is rising faster than it's dropping, right? Even after hitting this area of supply, it didn't really create a momentum change because even though we hit supply, if the market was really going to drop, more than likely you will see more seller momentum than you will buyer momentum. But the buyers still are more aggressive than the sellers at this point in time. So I do believe that the market will probably continue bullish since, the market's still dropping down at a slow pace, right? So yeah, that higher, higher, high, low. Nah, for real. Oh. So yeah, overall, I am more bullish than I am bearish on USD, right? Or DXY, I should say. Um, Nothing to see here. I gave that trade out a couple weeks ago, and it ain't did nothing. After the drop, it hasn't did nothing since. So the initial drop was nice, dropped a couple hundred pips, but ain't really did nothing since. All right. So take a quick look at some indices. Obviously, like I said previously, they're pretty much the same as the Forex pairs. You can't trade as much. So it's not like I could trade Euro Chef or something like that, right? So you're a little more limited on what you're able to trade. But depending on who you are, that could be a good thing, right? Um, Less things to confuse you, less things to be distracted by. So, you know, could be a positive at the end of the day. Weekly, the DXY looking bullish, bottom of a channel. Okay, yeah, cool. I personally don't use channels, but if you're seeing that as well, and I'm seeing that on a different strategy completely, then I mean we're all looking good at the end of the day. Everything is looking great, right? So we see the same setup on multiple different market approaches. That's a real good thing, if you ask me. So but yeah, I'm overall I am bearish on this. Um, Inverted head and shoulders if you are a little more retail approach, right? So we had our slight little retracement, but now I feel like we are going back bullish again. So first week trade in futures, um, I ended up about 500 in profit. I started out really good. Then I took some losses because I ain't know what I was doing in terms of executing the trade. Like I guess I ain't set my stop loss properly or something. I don't know, but I took a couple ill-advised losses because I guess I was doing something wrong or or whatever. But overall, I am pretty excited about this up and coming week trading futures. Stop, honey. Stop. Baby grabbing the mic, about to rip the board out. Lord, stop it. Stop. I don't know how many of y'all got kids, man, but they funny, ain't they? But I'm gonna go over a couple features real quick, real quick. Obviously, you got 3-year-old twins. Wow. My wife wanted twins. I'm like, man, you can't do me like that fresh out the gate. um, I am bullish on oil, right? Um, initially, we saw this low being respected. Then it got cleared out, so that looks like an option two type setup that we discussed in our community. You got an area demand. We had a slight overshoot of it, but the market did end up respecting overall. Since the market did end up respecting overall, I would be looking for it to come back, clear out internal range liquidity that was created, left behind. I want us to come clear that out. Then as we go and clear that out, I'll look for not gold, oil, excuse me, to continue bullish, right? So I'm looking for bullishness on crude oil this week. So go stock up on gas. Where can this thing go? I mean, if it follows structure, could make a new high, right? Could make a new high, if I'm being completely honest. So, this could be real prime position, in order to get in a nice swing position and take this thing to the upside. All right. One sec. Yeah. Yeah. Canadian futures, I don't really have an opinion on at this moment in time. GU or Great British Pound futures. I'm gonna pretty much say the same thing that I said about GU as we clear these highs over to the left. I'm looking for the market to show signs of distribution and then give me a relief period bearish. Even if it's not long term, I do expect the market to go bearish just for at least the first half of the week. All right. Good question, guys. The question in the chat is, do I always trade with the trend or do I sometimes take counter trend trades? I always trade against the trend because the trend is subjective to the time frame that you're on, right? So the 4 hour could be bullish, but then if I go to the 5 minute, for example, because I do trade on lower time frames, this time frame can be bearish, right? So again, the trend is subjective to the time frame that you're analyzing. So I always take trades against the trend as long as it can provide a good risk to reward opportunity. All right. So again, more so than the trend, I'm paying attention to who's in control, supply or demand. And I'm also paying attention to strong highs, strong lows. I'm paying attention to, is there a heavy crossover? And those are the things that I'm paying attention to, because again, all of those things can fit into a higher time frame trend. The market could be trending up like this, but then on a lower time frame, I got consolidation, manipulation, as the crossover bearish, and then I have a sell opportunity right here, right? So I might have a sell opportunity right here that can take me down to another buy. Because if I'm in an uptrend, right, you're not going to buy again until you right here, around there. But if the market is up here, all I have to do is go to a lower time frame and I can find a sell opportunity that takes me back into the larger time frame buy opportunity. So again, I take trades against the trend all the time. Like that doesn't have any correlation on whether or not I'm a trader or not. Because I'm all about positioning. You know, I could be in an uptrend, but if it's time for the market to retrace, I'm gonna go to the lower time frame and I'm gonna find the counter trend structure so I can take advantage of that. Yeah. All right. So we already talked about this. Let's see some distribution on that end. Canadian futures, I don't really have too much of an opinion on. Crude oil, we should go bullish. Look for bullishness at about $78, right? You can get in underneath $78 a barrel. We should be on our way back to the upside, all right? Get in at 78, take it up to about 88.90, all right? Gold, oh, we already went over that on the other one. So like I said, futures, they're very similar, you know. Everything you could trade Forex with, you could pretty much trade on futures. They got a few differences like soybean, and you could trade cattle, you could trade platinum and corn and stuff like that, but I don't get into all of that. Maybe I will in the future, right? But overall, that's essentially all that I'm personally paying attention to. All right. Wasn't meant to be a super long call. Just wanted to come on, give you guys a little bit of insight on what it is that I'm gonna personally be looking at this week. Personally, again, quick recap. I'm pretty much bearish on GU, EuroCAD, GCAD. If I get the price action for Nas, I'll be bearish on Nas. And if I get the price action on gold, I'll be bearish on that too. So, get ready to push some sell buttons. We've been having like a lot of impulsive moves the past couple of weeks. So I do feel like the market is due for a little period of relief. And I do think we'll get some opportunities on that end to take advantage of some sales. All right. So overall, again, wasn't meant to be a long call. This is being recorded. So I'm going to make sure I upload this real quick.
Hey, yo, Ray.
Yeah.
If you look at oh yeah, so what I just said you just there is I know you was talking about like that sale on nine and
Right.
for it to then push lower and then like possibly buy lower. But I was looking at it and I saw that like there was a hezzy in that like order block. If you go down to a smaller time frame, like you'll see like the strong sweep, hezzy, all that internal rate liquidity. So I'm thinking like, but like if price was to go down there first, would you rather be focused on the buy because price came down to like that strong low, or would you still kind of like how would you go about that? Because like there's hezzies on both sides of price right now. There's a hezzy down low, and then there's also a hezzy at the high going on. So
Right. And again, indices will always be inherently bullish more so than anything. So it's like if what is that, 18,708 or wherever the internal range liquidity is on the sell side. If that gets hit first, then you go with that one. But if the market is already in a bullish zone and it's returning bullish, then I'm not really going to be interested in the sell no more because the order flow is currently bullish. So, you know, it's pretty much whatever happens first. If you get the sell first, you sell down to the buy. If you get the buy first, you just disregard the sell. So, you know, where the market is currently, I can't tell you what's going to hit first, but ideally, I would like to sell first, but there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. But, if we don't get that sell, if we don't get that sell, um, I would, probably just lean more towards the buys because, again, the market's never going to be bearish that long before it continues to go bullish again. You said this is NASDAQ. I'll take a quick look again before I. So probably talking about this here. Um, yeah, I mean, if I disregard the fact that we just made new highs, I could see that, you know, being valid. I'm more of a reversal guy than a continuation guy anyway. So, but I don't want to tell you that because you caught a beautiful reversal earlier this week. So don't let me deter you from taking these continuations. I just like steeper retracements overall. Like this, if I take a sell up here, the range is here and I'm getting in right here. Where it's like the market has already retraced most of that range. If you get in here, you got so much, potential downside that the market could go. It makes me a little less, positive about the buy, especially when we just made brand new highs. But I do see it. You know what I'm saying? I see what you see. You're looking at this. That low got taken out. And on the way up, we hesitate off supply, so we create internal range liquidity right here. From a conceptual perspective, you're absolutely right. I would just rather sell because we created new all-time highs. And I know the likelihood to sell after making all-time highs is a little higher than the buy opportunity. So from a technical perspective, you're all right. I think just of more of a sentiment perspective, I feel like overall people might be a little more inclined to sell since we've made brand new highs. Does that make sense? Right. So with that being said, we have any other comments, questions, concerns? Just before I hop out of here. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Are we all good? All right. I appreciate y'all as well. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off, get my day going. I hope you guys have a phenomenal Sunday. Be on the lookout for the YouTube link. I will let you guys know the moment it's been uploaded. All right. Appreciate y'all again. I see you guys at the top from the top because the bottom is way too crowded. Much love and peace.